welcome to Healthy Bites. My name is Dr. Ron Ehrlich. Indigenous culture, Indigenous history in Australia. I mean, the more I learn about this, the more incredible I feel it is. If you're looking at this on YouTube, you will note the books that I have behind me, and one in particular that I think is an absolute must for every Australian. That book is Bruce Pascoe's Dark Emu, and if you haven't read it, you should. I believe it is a compulsory read for everybody that chooses to live in Australia, and if you want to get it for your kids as well, I think there's even a children's version of Dark Emu, which is a must to learn about. But last night on Q&A, I heard an excerpt from Bruce Pascoe talking about the continuous presence of up to 120,000 years in Australia. Now that is mind-boggling, and there was an article written back in 2019 which actually should have been front-page news in every news outlet in Australia, let alone the world, to say that bones had been discovered, of human bones had been discovered in Australia that date back 120,000 years. And if I can, possibly I will cut or maybe insert the Q&A segment at this point, and if I can do that, I will.
Trajectories of growth, ever-increasing growth. Can the world sustain that? Are we always going to assume that our wealth will get greater, production will get greater? What about the poor old Earth? She can't sustain this, and yet we assume that with our ever-increasing industrialisation and our ever-increasing population, which no one wants to talk about, that we could just keep on going at this escalating rate. And we can't. And we have to address it. And, you know, this country has we talked about Australian history before, Australian political history. Well, Australian political history is 120,000 years old minimum. And that was a society basically egalitarian. We have probably got the oldest village on earth in this country, which meant we invented society. And that society for 120,000 years was largely egalitarian. I think this is a triumph. And I think we need to refer to it more and more frequently and stop looking at the cycle of news as if this is the world. It is not the world. The world is in our hearts, and it's what we... It's what we believe and what we do, which are the main things, not about looking at perceptions of a deed, but it's actually what we do, what we the people do to each other and for each other that matters.
I think that's incredible, don't you? Every time I hear Bruce Pascoe, honestly, the message is so simple, so articulate, so perfect. We have so much to learn from the Indigenous people of this country. And the egalitarian nature, the fact that the country was made up of 250 different nations that survived for tens of thousands of years, over 100,000 years on this land, which is an old country. I mean, you only have to travel anywhere in Australia beyond the coast to see how old this country is. When I was in New Zealand about a year and a half ago, the mountains are really pointy, and that means a new country. You know, the remarkables are incredible. They're remarkable. But when you go over to the Blue Mountains, the mountains are flat and worn, and you look out beyond the Blue Mountains into Australia and you realise how old and worn this country is. But to think that the Indigenous people have lived here in harmony with nature, and yes, they have shaped nature. All human beings do tend to shape the environment in which they are, but but they've lived in harmony with it, and we have so much to learn from it. Look, it's just an incredible experience. I'm hoping to really explore this in much greater detail on the podcast in the coming years. And I've been trying to get Bruce Pascoe on as a guest, but he's a very busy man. But anyway, I will be exploring others in that vein. I just wanted to bring your attention to A, the book, Dark Emu, B, the incredible history of the Indigenous people's relationship with this country, and C, how much we have to learn from it. I hope this finds you well. Until next time, this is Dr. Ron Ehrlich. Be well.